Welcome to Magic Master Sets. Hello, everybody. So I am going to be doing this set finally. I've been busy the past couple days, and I wanted to get to doing this because I should be getting the Whatnot order relatively soon. So that'll be the next video I make is whenever I get the Whatnot stuff. I'm gonna wait till it all comes in. It should all come in within around the same time frame. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Should all come in around the same time frame because there should be a couple different packages. So once it comes in, I will make that video, and that'll probably wrap us up for February. So as I said in my last video, I'd love some ideas of what I should be focusing on uh, to complete a set, because I want to have a set done halfway through this year, some type of master set completed 100%. So let me know where you think I should focus. So again, like, let's just take a look at the set here. You can see what I have, where the percentages I'm at are. The one that's highlighted green is the one we're going to be focusing on today. We're going to see what I get in the Whatnot order, and we'll add to this and then kind of go from there. So let's get into adding this set. So pop it down there so I can come back to it. I have the set already pulled up. It looks like the amount of cards that I already have in the set are already there. So this is just going to be adding the new cards. If I bump my microphone, forgive me, it's kind of like in the way of my hand. So let's get into doing this. So I have, these are the ones I already have. I'm just going to be flipping these over so that I have them in the numerical order when everything is done being put in. So that's what I'm going to be working on. But um, so it's been an interesting day for me. I mean, I hope you guys don't mind me just kind of talking about like real estate and my job, because I don't know the magic stuff all that well. So obviously, I'm still learning this, so I can't really talk about this in the way of knowledge and stuff of it. So I hope you guys don't mind me just chatting and whatnot. I mean, I watch a lot of, not I would say a lot, but I watch other streamers and stuff, and I mean, I get to know them over the course of time of them like watching all their stuff, but sometimes I feel like I'd like to get them to know them a little bit more. So and like, I know one, they've actually talked about doing like a podcast where they just talk, like it's not anything about the content specifically, that it's, well, I mean, obviously it would be a little bit, but it's more so just them talking and just them like as friends, because they are friends, like the people that they stream with a lot. So I don't know. That's kind of where my head is in this with making the content and just chatting. But just so you kind of have an idea of, get to know me and tell you about my day. And um so it's, today was interesting. So my company is going to be putting on a home show at the end of this month. Did I just put that in as a regular or a foil? Let me check. Put it as a normal. It is a foil. So it's funny. I've never actually been to a home show. I should probably have gone at some point because there was one not that long ago, not that far, but I didn't go. Um, and one of our agents decided that it would be a good idea for us to put on our own home show, which I actually do think is a great idea. Um, so if you don't really know what a home show is, from what the research that I've done and learned, and just knowing generally about them in some sense of the way, that a home show is, it's like a bridal expo, it's like a flower show, it's like an RV show. It's basically where people would come to learn about the specific thing that the event is. So obviously, if you're going to an RV show, you're going to be learning about RVs. If you're going to a bridal show, it's going to be about wedding planning and just getting prepared for that and all the other things. A home show is where you would come to meet businesses that can do work for your home in some way, shape, or form. So it's going to have your plumbers, your electricians, your roofing, siding companies, windows and doors, all that kind of stuff. So that's been what we've been planning. And I have, my role in this has been part of the advertising itself, along with handling getting the vendors, so creating the vendor list other people have been talking to vendors as well and getting me vendors, but I'm the one that if they're interested, they come to me to get the details of what we're doing, how we're handling it, make the payments, all that kind of stuff. So that's been what I've been juggling. Um, and I'm very happy with the way it kind of turned out because I had a concern in the beginning that we were not going to have enough people, um, like enough businesses because there was not a lot of interest in the beginning and people were not really signing up. Like we had a couple people like sign up right away, like three or four, and then from there it kind of like fizzled out and like nobody was getting back to me, nobody was answering. And I started getting concerned because obviously I had to put some of the money like for things up front. The vendors are then as they're paying or are paying back that, but then we also had to pay for like advertising and signs and all that other stuff. So it was kind of nerve-wracking in the beginning because I'm not getting money in. I have to spend money that I'm hoping I get reimbursed. If we don't get enough vendors, not only do I not get reimbursed, but I also have to refund the vendors that paid that were now not going to get the show. So it was a bit nerve-wracking, but I'm really happy because we basically sold out. We estimated that the venue that we're having it in, because it's an odd shaped room. It's a great hall. It's a great place. I've been there before for other things. The problem is it's not square. It's actually a very odd shape. It's almost like an octagon type shape with like these little branches that like kind of shoot off. Sorry about that. I will call her back in a little bit. Um, so it made it a little tricky to figure out because they obviously have their own tables for their own events, but they have round tables. We're going to be using 6 foot tables. So the dimensions are just different. And we just more guesstimated it at the tables that we can fit because we would never were able to get in there when it was like empty and all to physically measure it out. So we just had that slight concern too that like hopefully we don't oversell and or undersell because obviously we we're at kind of the point now for also like a week and a half away because it's going to be on the 28th, so it's 10 days from today because today's the 18th. um we got to cut it off at some point because for like the advertising that we're saying for it and the people the businesses that are going to be there along with kind of running out of space, we had to cut it off. So obviously, like I'm glad that we basically sold out, which I'm happy about. But I'm kind of also hoping that we don't get there the day of the event, set like have everybody set up and go, wow, we could have fit 5, 6, 7 more tables in here where I could have been trying to push a little bit more for that. But then I also have the fear that we're going to have all the vendors come in and I'm not going to have enough space as well to fit everybody in there because we just guesstimated wrong. So I don't think I'm going to not be nervous until it's over because, well, at least until Friday night, because I get to go to the venue Friday night um, and measure it out. And like, I'm going to put like some painter's tape down for the table. So I got to take the painter's tape and a measuring tape and basically measure out the space for a table, mark it because we're going to have a list for the vendors when they come in the morning to say, you go here, you go here. Um, so I'll really know Friday night basically if we have the space or not. And then if we don't, I'll be in panic mode. If we have more space, I'd rather have more space than not enough. I'd rather have more space for people to like move around and like maybe not bump into each other. But if we don't have enough space, I think I'm going to be freaking out a little bit and trying to think on my feet basically of like, how do I get these tables to fit when I don't have the space? And that's going to be the nerve wracking thing. But I'm hoping it's going to be a good event. The other thing I'm nervous about, and again, won't really know until pretty much the day of the event, is I don't know how many people are going to show up. Like a couple of the businesses asked me that they're like, what is your expectation of attendance? And I told them like, well, we're all hoping and planning for like 300 people, but it could be more than that. The problem is it could also be a lot less than that. We don't know. This is the first time we're putting one on. So we don't entirely know what to expect. And that's nerve wracking as well because I like if people don't show up, I'm going to feel really bad that we had these vendors come out, like these businesses come out and pay this money and nobody shows. That's going to be terrible. Like I don't want that to happen because we're calling this our first annual. So obviously we want to continue to grow this and do more and have more next year and so on. And if people don't show up, it ain't going to happen. So I now just have that concern as well. That what do I do if nobody shows? If people don't show? So I'm telling them we're hoping for 300. Honestly, have no idea what to expect. Eh, and I'm nervous about that as well. So I'm probably going to be a little bit of a ball of anxiety for the next 10 days or so until it's over. And if the event goes really well, it's going to be great. I'm going to be happy, and we're going to start planning next year then. Um, if it bombs, I probably can't say that on here, but if it goes badly, um, then it's gonna suck because I'm gonna just feel bad for this business. Now, obviously, the businesses know, like, hey, this is a risk. We don't know what to expect either. Nobody really knows what to expect, so they understand that they're taking a shot in the dark. And I've set up tables at other events myself, not like home shows, but I've set up at like local events and stuff and gotten nothing out of it. Like obviously, people show up for the event, but I like there's been times I've gotten nothing out of it. So it is, and I know that, and I expect that, and I'm hoping that they know that, and they expect that it's something that can happen. But I'm still gonna feel bad if I'm like, hey, you should come and pay us money and do this, and then people don't show and they basically just wasted 5 hours because it's an hour setup, 3 hours through the event, and then an hour of breakdown. And they're giving up their Saturday that they could be spending with their family or something. So I don't know. I'm really hoping that it goes really well. Um, ask people to put out good vibes, prayers, rain dances. I don't care. Just anything that would be sending me something positive. I would appreciate the positivity for it because I want this to go well. I want the businesses to do well. I want them to get more business and grow their business. I want it to be success for me and my company so that we can again make it bigger, make it better next year. So that's what I kind of was planning and doing today. We had our last like meeting for it today to finish up the last little details because we're also not only are we hosting it like the people that are on the committee, not only are we hosting it, but we're also going to have our own table there. So we were also talking about what are we doing? How are we handling that? Because like I have to work the event. Like I'm an agent and I would love to meet some of these people and try to pick up my own business. But I also have to work the event as well because it's our event and I have to like be at one of the tables. So like we talked about that of like what are we going to do with like can we rotate around maybe like every like 30 minutes 45 minutes something like that, like rotate where somebody else comes and takes my place at the table that I got to run at the front like when people are coming in so that I can like they can switch out with me and I can go be at the table for when people come by to try to talk to them and try to pick up business. So we're finishing planning that. I'm not too concerned about it. I told them like worst case scenario, if I don't to be at the table because like I got to work the front table, it's not a big deal. Um, like I'm more hoping that this is just generally successful for the businesses that are coming in, not so much me personally. Um, I mean, I generally like, and just so you guys know, because I've talked about like how people don't understand our industry and our business. And I want to just say that like when we do events like this, like we do open houses, we do like any of these like vendor events where we go and set up a table or something like that, because of the time and dedication and the money that we put out for it. Um, my hope, I don't know about any other agents and at all. My always hope and goal is to get one client out of doing an event. Because let's say I did this event for myself. Like, let's say I wasn't hosting this, but they're like, hey, we're doing a home show. We want an agent there. Do you want to come? I said, sure. Like, for me, if I go and I get one client, even if I paid three, four, $500 for a table, if I got one client out of it, I'd be ecstatic because like getting a buyer or a seller out of doing that event is just one is more than worth it because it absolutely covers the cost and the time and everything that I did in the preparation. But like I said, it's people come for all different reasons to these types of shows and local events and stuff. And it's hit or miss of like whether you get something out of it or not. So I'm always happy if I go to an event and I get one. And like I said, I've gone to events and gotten nothing. It does happen. It sucks, but it happens. Um, so like I did an event in the fall in 25 and unfortunately it was like a part indoor, part outdoor event. I was luckily indoors because I paid a little bit more because I wanted to be indoors because I also knew it was going to be a little chilly and I'm like I'd rather be inside. And I'm glad I did because I don't have a tent or anything like that to cover myself, and it wound up raining. So I was very glad to be inside. But the problem was because it was a half in, half out event, and that's how it was advertised, the turnout I think was not the best, unfortunately, just because people didn't want to be outside. Now it wasn't like a heavy, heavy rain. It was like an on and off like drizzle mist. But the issue is, it's like it's fall. It's already chilly. Do I want to be outside in the evening in a light rain while it's cold? No. So I think the turnout wound up being a little bit lackluster for the event, which sucked. Now, if they do it again next year, I'll absolutely do it again because a friend of mine was the one who like was part of the planning committee for that and hosted, and it was not expensive at all. And I did potentially pick up a client. I wound up talking to oddly, I wound up talking to the parent of another vendor there that is looking to sometime this year in 2026 is looking to move out of the like out of the one area that he's in and move into the suburb area where I'm at. So, but he said he wasn't planning on doing that until like around he said fall of this year. So, like my thing is I gotta I reach out to every maybe like 2 3 months just to kind of keep in touch. But then I would say probably in the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 months, I'm going to have to kind of up myself a little bit on trying to make sure I get in contact with them because moving takes a lot. Like if you've ever moved, which I know probably if you're anywhere in an adulthood age, you probably have at some point. Um, moving is a lot. It can take a lot of planning, especially when you own the home, not like you're not just renting. If you own the home and you have to pack and organize and all, and then when you're trying to buy, like when you're going to sell a house and buy a house, there's so many moving parts to that, and some people just think like, oh, I'll just kind of deal with it as I go, and that is probably the worst thing you can do because there's so much involved. It's like, why would you just wait and see what happens? Um, you want to plan this ahead. You want to make sure that you have a game plan. That's why having a good agent on your side to do that. Because even if you're just buying, that's a lot. Even if you just are selling, that is a lot. Now you're adding a lot of both because you got to juggle both. And there's so many moving parts in a single transaction. Now you're doing two. It just is a lot. So I'm hoping that I can like connect with this guy a little bit more and get him to hire me because I know I'm a good agent. I know I'm a good agent. I've been told that by pretty much every client that I have had, that I'm a good agent. I have one set of clients, past clients, that absolutely adore me. They love me. Um, they talk me up constantly to other people, and I appreciate that so much. Like they see my posts on social media, and they share stuff, and they comment on stuff. So I really appreciate that from them. They were really great people to work with. I the wife at one point, I remember her saying to me, like, because their situation, she's like, I'm going to drive you to drink because she of what, like, just what was going on and all. And I just remember her saying that she's like, I feel bad because I feel like I'm going to drive you to drink. And I laughed and I said, well, luckily for you, I have a slight liver condition, so I don't drink. And she laughed and she goes, well, now I'm more concerned of what you might do to relieve the stress of dealing with me. And like I said, she was awesome. Her family was awesome. It was an honor to work with them. They were great people, and like it was like that's they're the type of clients. Like I've had other great clients, and I liked most of my clients. A couple of them were a little bit of a pain at times, but that happens obviously in jobs and stuff. Like nobody's perfect, and situations come up. But like these particular people that I have in mind, these they're the reason why I do what I do, because they had owned a home prior, they had a bad agent, they had a bad home inspector. Like, again, this is their from their side, so I'm not bad mouthing anybody specific. I don't know the situation. I wasn't there. I wasn't involved. But from what they told me, they had a bad agent, they had a bad experience, and it just things just did not work out in any positive way for them. They had the house for a couple of years. They wound up having issues with the house, and they needed to get out of the house, so they wound up selling it, and then they actually went going back to renting. Like they wound up moving into an apartment building and were there for a couple of years. And this was a family of five. Like it was the two parents and three at the time younger kids. One now she's graduated high school. The other one is getting ready to graduate, I think this year or next year. Um, so like the kids have grown up a little bit, but it just like they were just in a bad situation, and I felt bad when they were telling me what they had dealt with before, because they were a little bit cautious, and I don't blame them. Like with what they went through, they were a little hesitant and a little cautious, and I worked with them slowly. What I call hand holding, where I'm like, I work at their pace, and which I'll work at anybody's pace. I don't care. But like when I have people like that that are telling me this, I'm like, I gotta really just make sure that I'm doing things slowly. I'm explaining and I'm helping them every way. Because some people are just like, I don't want to hear it. What do I need to do? Tell me what I need to do and do it. Other people are like, I have questions, and like one question turns into 80 questions. And it's not, and I don't like, to me, I like both sets of those types of clients, because the ones that know what they want and want to go for it and just say, let's go. As long as they understand, I can tell them like, look, we got to just make sure you understand this part. And if you do, I'm happy to move at a rocket pace. That's fine. But if I have the people like this couple that are like, look, we have questions, we want to understand. And like, a lot of people like to play the what if game too. And it's fine because they're thinking about what's coming, but the what if game also can hurt you. And like they wanted to ask those questions, and I helped them get through the whole thing. And I'm so grateful for them. Like what, like just being, I was grateful to be able to help them get out of the situation they were in, because it's tough being in an apartment when you have three kids. Like I don't have kids, but I can only imagine um, what that is like, to be in that type of a situation. And not that the place was bad, it wasn't bad, it was just too small. Like, that was the problem, the apartment itself was just too small for a family of 5. So, like, I was really happy to get them into a place, and it's funny, as much as I did for them and everything else, they are the clients that I had for the longest amount of time, because when I talk with new buyers and we're having conversations, a lot of people like to ask, "Well, how long does this process take?" So the line that I say, and it's just because I have things that I say to people so I can have a bigger conversation with them, is the shortest amount of time I have ever worked with a buyer was 1 day, which is absolutely true. It was a friend of mine, her and her husband were looking to buy. I helped them. They sent me 4 addresses. We looked at all 4 addresses. We put an offer in on the fourth house that they saw. That offer was accepted, and they still are living in that house as of today. These clients that I was talking about, the ones I was very happy to work with, I had them for 2 years. So that is what I tell my prospective buyers is the shortest amount of time is a day. Longest amount of time is 2 years. And I don't know how much is going to be involved for you. So I really can't, there is no average, I would say, for how long it takes somebody to get a house because there's so many factors that are going to play into that we really just don't know. So, I mean, it's really hard when people ask me that question of like how long it's going to take because I honestly really don't know. What I can say, at least again, my area and what I deal with is sorry about that. Once you're under contract, so what, like if you're, let's say you're buying, um, average around here, and I assume this is probably most places. Once an offer is accepted, the average amount of time it takes to get to the closing table is somewhere between 30 to 45 days, roughly. 30 days is more a standard conventional mortgage, um, where FHA usually takes around 45 days. So that's what I can tell them is the estimated time from the offer being accepted is 1 to 2 months. Now I've had settlements take longer than 2 months. I had one settlement. I think it took like 3.5 weeks. It was just under a month, which was really good. Um, but we honestly just there again. There's so many factors that play into what it's going to take that we can only give estimates. We can only be like, this is what we're thinking. This is what kind of the norm is. But I've done plenty of my own transactions that are outside of the norm too. So you can't predict, unfortunately. Um, I think I was like the one I was talking about the like before, where the buyer's settlement got delayed because of the issue with the grant and the flood cert or whatever it was. Like if we that should have closed that day, and that would have been a normal like 30-ish, 40-ish day settlement. But when that cert didn't come in, well, if he wasn't able to buy without that grant at all, we would have had to extend. And I think I remember saying, and from what I remember, they said it was like 14 to 21 days to get the cert. So it's like we took a 30 to 40 day average closing and would have potentially pushed it out to almost 2 months, depending on how quickly things came back. And again, like I still didn't know if that would have been enough or we would have had to do more. So it 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 I love my job. I really do. I love um what I get to do for people and how I get to help people. But a lot of people have a lot of questions in the beginning, and I have a lot of answers for a lot of questions. But I also have no answers for a lot of questions. I have maybes and possibles and other things because you just don't know. And I would also say one of the other things, probably one of the more common questions I get as well. Sorry, I don't know if you heard the hit on the mic there. Um, but another kind of question I get a lot is, well, how much money do I need to buy? To be honest, I can't tell you. And you want to know why? Because all of those numbers are all contingent upon other factors. Obviously, if you have a better credit score than somebody else, you might get a lower interest rate. That's going to affect your score. Where you buy, the taxes are going to affect because we have property taxes here. So, like your property taxes are going to be a factor. How much you need to have in home insurance because maybe a certain home has a factor or something like that that makes it need a higher insurance. Like if you're in a flood zone, obviously that means you're going to need more insurance than a house who's not in a flood zone. I don't, even if I know the property is in a flood zone, flood insurance varies upon the severity of the property itself. So we have to get a quote for that. There are so many things that will change your monthly payment that I can't tell you on day one when you say, well, I want to buy a house and I want to buy a $300,000 house. What's my payment going to be? I can give you a rough estimate based on, again, some standard things, but there's so many other things that will play into that I'm like, I really can't tell you. Like I tell people the best thing to really honestly do is talk with a lender and have them, because they have these really like these nice programs that they can plug in scenarios. Like they can plug in estimates of numbers and pricings and stuff and say, hey, this is what it's going to be if you do this, this, and that. So they're usually like the better ones to talk to. And you got to talk to them anyway because you have to get the pre-approval. You have to know what you can afford, like the term I like to use is your buying power. What is your buying power? How much of a home can you afford? We got to find that out. So I would say, like, we got to talk to the lender, let the lender run the scenarios for you and give you the estimates, because a $300,000 house with 3,000 a year taxes is going to be a lot less than a $300,000 house with $7,000 a year taxes. So, and I don't know what that's going to be until we actually get in, until you tell me the area, because your areas are what affect your taxes. So we are all done adding these cards in. We now have 142 of 466. So we added 101 cards, which is great. So we are done with that set for right now. We're not completed it, but we're done it. So let me take a look here at my completed percentages and kind of get an idea of where I'm at with stuff. I still think this is my highest at the moment, but that's the one I'm having issues finding stuff for. And the next one would be this one, it looks like, which is Midnight Hunt. So again, I would like some feedback from anybody who's watching, and leave a comment of what set on this list do you think I should try to um, complete first, or what I should be aiming for in buying. Should I be going for the stuff that I have a high percentage of already? Should I be going for stuff that has a low card count in the set, like this? This one here only has 111 cards in the entire set. That should, in theory, it should be relatively easy to finish, but it's also a slightly older set. Probably can't get packs necessarily easily for it, so it would be a lot of bulk and be a lot of time like looking through that. So, what do you guys think? Would love some feedback. I know there's a lot I have on here with ones, and as I get more stuff from Whatnot, it's probably going to wind up being the same. So let me know what you think. Where should I start? Where should I focus? Recommendations of websites to buy singles on other than TCG Player, because I know that one. So any other sites would be great suggestions. So I appreciate it. The next video, keep an eye out for it. It's going to be the Whatnot bundle for this month, and then we'll start figuring out March. So I will talk to you guys later. Look forward to it. Bye. Thank you for watching Magic Master Sets. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and please feel free to leave a comment.